Hello everybody, my name is Sybr. Welcome to my ultimate guide to Kha'Zix. For those of you who's new to the channel, I am a Challenger Kha'Zix player on the North American server. I've been Challenger ever since Season 6, and today I'll be teaching you guys how to play Kha'Zix. To begin, we're going to talk about Kha'Zix's ability. So let's start with his passive. So Kha'Zix's passive is, every time when Kha'Zix is not visible to the enemy team, its next attack against the champion deals additional magic damage and slows the enemy by 25%, 2 seconds. So basically every time you're in fog of war, this passive will reset and you'll get extra damage on auto attack and it applies a tiny bit of slow. So this mechanic is actually pretty useful. So when you're fighting an enemy, for example at Scuttle, you can do your combo on them and then go into the bush. If it's not worth it, you'll get your passive back up and it'll give you like a slight extra damage onto the enemy. So his passive is actually not bad. So next, moving on to his Q. His Q, it's a point click. It's a point click damage ability. I'll show you guys here. So every time you click, it applies damage, and this damage is increased if that target is isolated. So by isolation, it means no one's around the enemy. So if no one's around the enemy you want to kill, you want to target, they're isolated, and you'll get extra damage on your Q ability. So right here. Moving on to W. His W is a spike. It's a spike where it will shoot a missile and then it will deal damage. If you're close to the missile, when it explode, you'll get some healing. Right here, you'll get some heals, so you can see it on the body here. Right, it's pretty simple, straightforward. It's a skill shot ability. It does damage, and if you're close, it heals you. So moving on to Z. This E, as it got closer, you'll apply a tiny bit of damage upon landing. So right here, boom. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Kha'Zix has a pretty simple kit. So to be honest, if you want to learn Kha'Zix, his ability is actually pretty straightforward and is simple to learn in my opinion. Moving on to his R. So let me level up here. So his R grants you invincibility for 1.25 seconds, and you gain movement speed while you're invincible. You may cast this 2 times, and you can cast this 3 times if you have it evolved, and we'll talk about Revolution later into the video. So you press R, you're in stealth, and you get extra movement speed while you're in stealth. And a cool trick is, every time you use your R, your passive reset. Since no one can see you again, you're in fog of war, your passive, you regain your passive every time you use it, pretty much. So it applies extra damage. But yeah, let's move on to the next part. Alright guys, so for this part, I'll show you guys how to clear on Kha'Zix. So this is how you clear on the first clear. So if you're starting with blue, you wanna kite the blue buff towards your way up to top lane. So this way you take less damage while you're kiting. And after that, you want to cut it down towards raptors. So this way you are closer to your next camp when you're about to finish. Make sure you don't smite the blue. You want to save your smite for the Grump. So we level up W, and we do the same thing to Grump. So you want to kite it towards your next camp, which is wolves. I'm going to make sure to smite this one. There we go. So when to do wolves, you want to auto the small one first, Q the other one, W the whole thing, and then auto the small wolves or Q twice. Wait until they're 1 hit, and then keep autoing the big one, and then use your W to finish them off. So this way you clear your camps with this low amount of time. So right here you want to level up your E. You want to jump over this wall onto raptors, W all of them, Q auto the big one, and then start autoing each small raptor 1 by 1. Now once you finish, you want to drag it out a little bit, and then auto big one, W, to finish all of them off, and then slowly kill off the big one. So onto red, follow off with auto Q. You want to kite it again, kite it down. You always want to be kiting towards your next camp, so this way you save time walking towards the camp you want to be. Nice. There we go. So you want to jump over this wall right here. Auto the big one. Smite the big one. Finish it off. Auto Q the small one. W. Oh, okay. So W, you should have hit the small one here, so you take less damage, but it shouldn't really matter since it's only slow golems. And then you W the whole thing. There we go. Alright, so let's talk about Kha'Zix combo. So for combo, it's pretty simple. You jump on an enemy, you Q them, you auto them. So like this. That's your standard combo, right? But a cool trick you can do with Kha'Zix is your Q, you're able to cast this midair. So you can jump, Q, midair, and land. So that saves you a lot of time, right? So to be able to do this combo better and more advanced, you want to be able to Q midair, and then when you land, you auto attack. So like this, pretty much. Yeah, so that's your basic Kha'Zix combo. And typically when you're approaching an enemy, when you're ganking someone, you want to just do this combo. That's your fastest damage. And another thing you can do with Kha'Zix, instead of jumping, if you want to save your gap closer for whatever reason, so if you want to get away after you engage, or if you want to save it for killing the next enemy, if they're too low HP target, you could open up with your R. So you could R, auto WQ. So that's your fastest combo if you want to start with R. So you walk to the target, auto WQ. And then you have your E up again, so if they want to kill you, you jump away. If you want to chase someone, and then you just jump next to them. So this is actually the combo you will use if you want to gank a lane, for example. So let's say you want to gank the lane. You want to surprise the enemy. So pretty much you open with R, you jump, you do a combo, and then they're dead. Another thing is really important with Kha'Zix. You want to be able to use your R to dodge the enemy skill shots. So for example, if you're playing against Syndra or Syndra, anyone with like skill shot that has a CC, so Syndra QE that can knock you and stun you, makes you able to move. You want to be able to use your R and dodge the ability. So you want to do a combo like you start with R, you jump, you do a combo, you want to walk around and then go into stealth again, and then do the auto WQ combo. So pretty much you combine the two combo together to do a full combo on Kha'Zix. So right, remember I told you guys first you do the jump Q auto, and then the stealth auto WQ. So you want to combine these together to make it a full combo. So a full combo, just like, oh, that's your full combo right there. Typically, if you don't evolve your R, you only have 2 charges. So one for engaging, and then another one for using. If you jump first, you have an extra charge for getting away or chasing the target. So it's pretty useful, and we will talk about revolution later into the video. So that's a standard combo if you wanna kill an enemy. Another thing is in a situation where if the enemy is walking towards you, so I can spawn a dummy here. So for example, if you're like, you're Kha'Zix, you're assassin, you want to be able to assassinate people, you're picking people off. So if, let's say you're waiting for the enemy here, you're invading, and the enemy jungle is walking toward you, the fastest combo, like if you want to kill them in the shortest amount of time, you will open up with auto, and then you WQ, and then you go into stealth right away. So this way they're like surprised, they're like, oh wait, he just damaged me, but where is he? And then do your whole combo again, but with auto Q, because since your W will be on cooldown. So you open with auto, WQ, go into stealth, auto Q again. That's typically how you want to do if the enemy is walking towards you, if you don't have to use any ability to be able to get close to them. And then you have your E in case they flash away to chase, and you have like R to run at them, if they dash away or something. So that's pretty much like your Kha'Zix combo. Another thing is I'll show you guys is I get a lot of questions like this, is how do you double jump on Kha'Zix. A lot of people who doesn't play Kha'Zix and sees this and like, wait, this guy can fly, it's pretty cool. So once you have your ability evolved, your E, you're able to get a reset on takedown, or if you get assist, this cooldown will reset, making you able to use it again, and you can cast it midair. So you can actually jump twice, or 3 times, or 4 times, or 5 times, depending on how many champion you kill and how many resets you get. So the double jumps, you want to Q midair or Tiamat or like whatever ability you have. You can use midair, and then you execute them, and then you press your jump again. So basically like this. Now let's talk about revolution. So let's start with Q. So evolving a Q gives you longer range on your Q ability, and it reduces your Q cooldown by 45% every time you use it if the target is isolated. So you have a longer range of Q if you do evolve this ability, and you get faster cooldown basically on isolated targets. This pretty simple, pretty straightforward. If you do evolve your W, instead of the 1 missile right here, you get 3. So you get 1, 2, 3. You get 3 missiles, and it applies slows. It applies a 60% slow every time you hit him. And it's up to like, I'm not sure, like 80% or something on isolated targets. So you get a lot of slows on a target if you do hit them once you have it evolved. Typically you want to evolve W on level 11 is pretty useful. On level 6 you can either evolve Q or R depending on the state of the game. You want to evolve Q if you want to invade a lot, or if you want to duel against someone often, then you evolve your Q. Makes your DPS higher. But if you want to go for the back line and you have trouble because the enemy have a lot of CC, you want to evolve your R level 6. So this gives you longer stealth time, and you're able to sneak past enemy. So yeah, and right after that, level 11, you want to evolve your W, because your W applies a lot of slow, and it makes the target you want to kill like really difficult for them to run away, basically. So evolving your E, what you talked about is when we talk about combos. If you do have your E evolved, you get resets on takedown, and it gives you a longer jump range. So every time you kill enemy, your cooldown resets, and you can pass it again. And let's talk about R now. So having R evolved, it gives you 3 charge of your invisibility. So it gives you 3 charges of this, and it gives you longer invincibility time. So I think, yeah, so if you don't evolve it, it gives you 1.25 seconds. If you do evolve it, it gives you 2 seconds. So it's actually a way longer the invincibility time compared to non-evolved R. This is like really useful in team fights to get around targets, and assessing backline is really, really useful. The enemy often, like a lot of players who I played against, they really hate Kha'Zix who evolve R, because it's just so annoying to play against. Like you see Kha'Zix here, you try to kill them, and they have like 3 stealth ability. Like it's really hard to catch them, and if you want to escape, it's really easy to. You just trick the enemy. So basically that's all the Kha'Zix revolution. Now let's talk about itemization for Kha'Zix. So itemization for Kha'Zix is actually pretty straightforward. You have 3 items, 3 mystics to choose. When you're against a squishy team comp, so they have like 4 to 5 champion where they're all squishy, they're easy to kill. You can opt in for a Prowler's Claw or Dustblade. You choose between these 2, right? So pretty much Prowler's Claw gives you the highest damage, so it gives you the highest burst because it has the highest lethality, and it gives you the most damage you can have for the item. Because this gives you 5 lethality per every single legendary item completed, and this only gives you ability haste. So right now you just gotta choose. If you want to be the carry, you want to be able to one-shot people and then continue doing that, and you probably want to buy Prowler's Claw. So because like it's really difficult for like squishy enemy team or squishy champions to be able to escape isolated Kha'Zix with Prowler's Claw. They just cannot survive any damage. You guys can go to my past Kha'Zix video and click on the Prowler's Claw one. You can see how much damage this item do. This is really ridiculous. So I'll show you guys like a combo, like how to use Prowler's Claw. So let me saw my Dustblade here. Let me go here. Let's say you can use it 2 ways. Okay, so the first way is you see an enemy. I'm gonna drop a word here for vision. So you see an enemy. They see you. If they see you close, they're gonna try to dash away or something, right? So you want to surprise them. This gives you a long range. So you want to use your jump, Prowler's Claw, auto Q. It gives you a lot of damage. This item grants you 15% increased damage onto the target right after you use it for the next 3 seconds. So how I like to use it is, I jump on an enemy, I use the item, auto Q, W. Basically, they'll be dead at this point. They'll be dead. Like any squishy champion will be dead. If you're playing against, you know, like some champion that who goes tabby, or like Graves, for example, he goes like Shobo, he has tabbies, man, like he has fully stacked armor. You do the same thing again to him, you know, do your combo, and then you go south again. You auto Q. This guy will be like 10% HP, or like you'll be like really low, and he has to wonder, he cannot fight you because he cannot, like Graves, he can't really get damage onto you when you're in stealth, unless he hits, you know, the Q and R predicts where you are and stuff like that. But it shouldn't have enough damage to be able to kill you. So like this item allows you to carry 1v9 really easily against squishy member. Like I like to go this item a lot if the enemy team is like all squishies. So okay. Another thing you can use this combo for is you can actually use this item in stealth and it won't break the stealth. So you press R, use the item, I'm still stealth, so they won't see you. So enemy will only know they get damaged, and they know, okay, I'm getting Prowler's Claw, but they don't know where you are. So a really cool trick is when you're ganking, if you want to surprise the enemy, right? Let's say you're walking towards mid. You can use your Prowler's, you can use R, Prowler's Claw, auto Q, W. You do a combo, they'll probably be dead if they are isolated, right? And if they're not dead, you have your E to jump on them, and you have extra charge of R and your flash, you know, to catch them in case they want to run away. So this item gives you like a lot more utility than you already have. Like you on Kha'Zix, you have a lot of utility already, and this item gives you another gap closer. It's kind of crazy, to be honest. And you can use this item midair, so you can jump, use it. It's a really cool trick. I've been using this like secretly myself. So you can actually fake the enemy, so you can jump away, but like you really aren't. You're coming back. It's really cool. So you can. There's a lot of cool combos you can pull off. I won't show it here. Maybe in a future video, you guys can, you know, try to figure out yourself. If there's a lot of requests, I'll make a video on like, especially on Prowler's Claw, on like the different amount of combo you can do with the item and stuff like that. But this item is really awesome. I like it a lot. So pretty much you choose between these two. Okay, now we talk about Dustblade. So in the same ideal situation, they have like 4 to 5 squishies. You go Dustblade. Dustblade grants you invincibility every time you kill target. I don't think I can show it here. Yeah, because this doesn't die, but every time you kill an enemy, you gain 1.5 second invincibility, right? This is really useful if you want to be able to clean up teamfight and they have a lot of damage, you know, you want some survivability compared to Prowler's Claw. Like this gives you high damage, but that's it. Doesn't give you any survivability. But this item gives you ability haste, which gives you, you know, ability to cool down faster, your R is faster, and stuff like that. And it gives you invincibility every time you take down a person. So for example, there's a lot of enemy here, they're doing Baron, you know. I jump on a target, I kill them, I'm invincible. I don't need to press R, I'm invincible because of the item. And then I go onto somebody, let's say I don't kill them, I do my damage, right? I can press R, and then I do my damage again, I get my item R, like I get my item invincibility, and I can go on somebody else again, do my damage. If they don't die, I press R again, you know, like I'm just perma stealth. There's nothing enemy can do. Like if I get a takedown, if I get reset on this item, I'm just perma invincible. Like it's really frustrating to play against. Like if you can use this item well, it's honestly better than Prowlers in teamfight, because the amount of utility and the amount of like the invincibility you get is just ridiculous. It's really hard, it's really difficult for the enemy team to kill you. So Dustblade is actually like a standard go-to. If you want to learn Kha'Zix, probably just use Dustblade against squishy team, and if you're playing against like tanky team or bruisers, go Eclipse. But basically this item, you're not gonna go wrong with it. It's pretty good. Prowler's Claw, if you want to be able to push your limit, you know, a little bit more, you want to snowball harder, then you go Prowler's Claw. But this item, you gotta get used to it. You gotta be able to learn it a little bit. But the standard, I would suggest you go Dustblade. You're not gonna go wrong with the item. The item is really good. Okay, now onto Eclipse. So you want to be able to buy this item. So they have like a Malphite top, Leona support, you know, like they have like tanky members. Then you wanna go Eclipse. This item gives you, every time you use the ability twice, so auto Q, it gives you like a slight shield, and it gives you 15% movement speed. So it gives you more survivability, and it gives you all vamp. So it gives you like lifesteal. You can lifesteal easier. You have more sustain, you know, dueling against somebody. So typically you can build this item against matchup you have hard time with, like Zinzao, Udyr, like matchup you have difficult fighting against, even like Rek'Sai. You have like an extra shield on you, extra movement speed you can play around with, and you have the extra like Omni-Vamp, the survivability you have, you know, to sustain in a fight. So you just want to build this item if you're playing against yeah, so like bruiser and tanky teams. So with the Mystic out of the way, basically secondary item, if you want to do a lot of damage, you want to be assassin. Typically buy the item in this order. You go Yumu Ghostblade, you go this item, I don't know how to say the name, but like Third Garage or something like that, you just go this item. And then after that, you could go Edge Knight, and then you could go, and you also have a boost at some point, right? And then your jungle item will be completed, you have one more item. And this item, you can choose. So you have to have a lot of magic damage, you go Maw. You know, you have to have a lot of AD damage, you go Guardian Angel. Or if you want, you have to have a lot of shielding, so Lulu support, for example, or Karma, you could go this item. You can break shield really easy. But if you want more sustain, for more lifesteal, you could go for Hydra as well. It's really good. It gives you 20 ability haste. Like ability haste is awesome. You cannot go wrong with it. Now, if you don't want to play like full damage, you want more survivability and you want to be tanky and like a bruiser style of Kha'Zix, then you go Eclipse, you go Black Cleaver, and then you could go Styx. Yeah, where is it? You go Styx, if I can find the item, right here. And then you could go Death Sense, and then you could go, you should always get Hydra as well if you're going Bruiser, because you want CDR. So you can spam your abilities, and then you have your boost, right? So this is like your standard Bruiser build on Kha'Zix. You have a lot of damage as well, but you have a good amount of like armor and good amount of HP items, and yeah, it allows you to survive through team fights, and it's actually pretty good. And like it's not like a fixed item set. Like games is, you know, it's a live game, and not every time will be the same. So you can swap up like some item for, you know, different items. So you can swap that sense for like Maw, for example, if they have a lot of, you know, AP damage. But keep in mind you cannot buy Styx and Maw at the same time. You can only choose one. So if they have a lot of AP, you probably go this item and then Edge Knight. So the extra shooting and MR gives you, you know, allows you to have more survivability. So it's really nice. So yeah, pretty much that's how you choose how to build on Kha'Zix. For rune pages, you have two ways of fighting runes with Kha'Zix. Is one way is Conquer. If you're gonna go Bruiser style, you can go Conquer, Triumph, Alacrity, or Tenacity, depending on you know, how much CC they have. They have a lot of CC, you go Tenacity. If not, you go Alacrity. Alacrity is really good for clearing, and in some dueling situation, it could be really useful as well. And for the last one, you want to go Coup de Grace. You could go Last Sense as well if they have a lot of birds and you'll be low when you're doing damage. You could go Last Sense as well, but typically Coup de Grace, you're not gonna go wrong with it. For secondary, you just want to choose Eyeball Collection and Ravenous Hunter. This gives you the AD you need, and it gives you sustain throughout the game. So if you're gonna go Bruiser style, this is the page you want to go. And typically you wanna go Conquer against matchup like Olaf, Nunu, etc. So like Bruiser style or tanky champion, you want to go Conquer. This other way of building rune pages for Kha'Zix, I'll put a screenshot right here so you guys know, is Dark Harvest or Electrocute. So you can go Dark Harvest if you get a lot of kills. So if you think you will get a lot of kills and you clean up in teamfight, you go for multiple targets, then you go for Dark Harvest, because the keystone reset on every single takedown. So it's really useful. But if you're new to Kha'Zix, but you want to play the high damage style and like a high burst, you could go Electrocute. It's pretty standard, and the damage is nice. It's the best keystone you can have for like bursting single target enemies, and it's most reliable as well. You don't have to worry about, you know, not getting a Dark Harvest stack in the game, so it scales with your level. So you're not gonna go wrong with Electrocute. But for the page, you're gonna go like Sudden Impact, Eyeball Collection, Revenant's Hunter, and then for the secondary, you should go Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm. But Gathering Storm, you could swap it for like Ward Walking, you know, if you want to play early game, or you could swap for Nimbus Cloak if you want some extra movement speed and utility. Pretty strange. That's pretty simple and straightforward. Alright, now the most important part, let's talk about like how to play Kha'Zix early game, mid game, and late game. So pretty much early game on Kha'Zix, you want to be able to get gold and you want to not fall behind. So basically early game you just wanna do your camps efficiently. You want to full clear, you want to clear efficiently, preferably get Scuttle if you can, but you're kind of weak compared to most junglers like Grace, Olaf, maybe even Lee Sin, etc. So on Scuttle contestant, typically you probably won't get them unless you start on the opposite side of pathing. So basically if you play Kha'Zix, against matchup you have difficult time against, you want to path on the opposite side of where they're starting. So for example, you're playing against Olaf, where you know level 3 is going to win. If he starts bot side, you know he's gonna path up, so you want to start top side and you want to path down. So this way he goes for top scuttle and you get bot scuttle. So it's an even trade and you both get gold and it's fine. This is totally fine because you Kha'Zix, you pretty much outscale almost all the junglers in the game. So like by the time you go to mid game and late game, you're really strong, and it's really difficult for like most junglers to duel against you. So for early game, you just want to play consistent. And you do not want to get behind. If you get behind on Kha'Zix, you will feel really useless, and you will get invaded a lot, and you'll be in a pretty bad spot. So the most important thing is to be able to farm your items, and do not get behind early game. Okay, so once early game is passed, you have your item. For example, you have your Dirk, you have your first mixed deck item. For example. This is when mid game comes and you want to be able to invade enemy a lot and you want to look for fights, you want to look for picks. So at this point of the game, you have your Dirk, you do a lot of damage. You have your Dirk, you have your lethality item, you do a lot of damage on enemy targets, so you want to be able to just assassinate people and get picks. So on Kha'Zix, you're a really good objective champion. So you do objective like dragons really fast. 3 Qs, 4 Qs, 5 Qs, and this guy's dead. I mean, that's like assuming I have item. So you do objective insanely fast. So you want to be able to contest every single dragon, and you can actually sneak a lot of dragons really easily. You can use your jump over the walls here onto dragon, or you can use the blasting cone in case you want to save it. You know, in case you think the enemy is gonna come, you just jump away. But typically you want to sneak dragons and you just want to drop a pink here and you start doing dragons. You want to be able to contest every single objective, and like objective fights is actually really good. If nobody gets picked off, you guys, you know, 5v5 and 4 dragons is really good for Kha'Zix. If you can get like a flanking position, or you know, if you can like being in like a sneaky place. Let's say your team is coming up here and you went over here. The enemy team, you know, is starting dragon. So when your team is engaging, you want to be able to, you know, sneak onto the back line, go on the, you know, the AD carry or the mage. You want to do your damage and then press your stealth again and stall some time. They cannot they can't target you while you're invincible. So you want to stall time for your team. Therefore, like the enemy backline is forced to you know, focus their ability and focus their attention onto you because you're trying to kill them. And this way your team just pretty much gets to, you know, 4v2 or like 3, you know, like you can call multiple people's attention by going for the backline. This way your team can win the fight like pretty much 99% of the time, unless they troll, you know. So mid game you want to be able to fight objective and you want to invade, because Kha'Zix is really good at killing isolated targets. His whole kit is built against like isolated enemies. So you want to be able to get like solo picks. So a really good way of doing that is by invading enemy. So you want to be able to track the enemy jungler well, and you want to be able to, you know, predict where they're gonna go, and then you want to try to kill them before they get there, or like even objective or scuttles, if you think they're gonna come, you want to get a vision set up, and then when they're walking in, you just grab a free kill, basically, and it delays the enemy time to, like, you know, come back from the game by a huge amount. Like after you kill them, you go for the camp, and then you reset, get your items, and then you repeat. Where do you think the enemy jungler will be? And then you go into his jungle again and try to get picks. So you want to do this, be able to do this like constantly. This is typically how you play mid game. And when you get to late game, this is like the hardest part of Kha'Zix. A lot of people has come to my stream and like asked me privately, is like, how do you play Kha'Zix when late game comes? Like, how do you team fight? Kha'Zix has a really hard time against good teams that groups. So like in lower ranks is honestly fine because people positions are really bad. So you have a lot of isolated target to go to and you get to one shot them because they're isolated, right? You get more damage. But with the higher elo you go, let's say you get to Masters, Grandmaster, or Challenger, the enemy team normally positions better, they know what like every single champion does, and they know how to counter them. So a lot of times the enemy team just group up and they're not isolated, they don't give you a chance for your isolation damage. So it's really difficult for you to play team fight, since with isolation you don't do a lot of damage, to be honest. So when that happens, late game especially, you want to be able to like get picks before they actually group up. So for example, is like 3 dragons against 3 dragons, and you guys want to be able to fight this last soul before this dragon actually spawns. So like a minute or something, or a minute and a half, you want to be able to call your supporters like, yo, help me ward around dragons, or you can buy 2 pinks, like buff your pinks, and then just start sitting like around boss side. And then you want to be able to pick the enemy jungler off, or any support. Like 1 pick is all you need. Like Kha'Zix, you can, before they actually start grouping, let's say the support is coming to drop a ward before the whole team start rotating, you can try to get a pick onto enemy support. Or if the jungler the jungler is fatting down for dragon, you can start waiting for them in the jungle as well. So you want to be able to get picks, because if you don't get picks or don't get flanking position down on Kha'Zix, you're not going to be as useful for like compared to Olaf, or compared to like Jarvan, any of those junglers. They don't need to worry about isolation. So they see a team fight, they go in, they don't care. But like for Kha'Zix, if you see an enemy team here, they're grouped up, they're fighting, like you jump in, you don't have a lot of damage, you do a thing, and you're like pretty vulnerable, and you're squishy as well, you just die. But like if you're playing Jarvan, you see a bunch of enemy grouped, and like, okay, I can do my EQ combo, and then I can R them, I'm tanky. So it is very different. So like the hardest part about Kha'Zix, like his kit is not that difficult to play. Like champion is pretty easy to learn, but like the timings on like when you should go in, and like what like the opportunity you look for is like the difficult part about Kha'Zix. So actually playing this champion makes you a better player, because you got to be able to predict where the enemy is going to be, and you want to be able to get picks on yourself. So basically that's how you play on Kha'Zix early, mid, and late game.